Good afternoon, ma'am. Good evening, ma'am. Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, everyone. Okay. Let's just wait for your friends for another minute. Meanwhile, how many of you went back and revised what we did in our last class? Only one? Only Neha did? Okay. Kitna, can you switch on your camera, beta? Okay. Let me just quickly ask question from the last class then. Okay? Everyone ready? So, I will ask the question and you'll be raising your hand. And if I call out your name, you are supposed to unmute yourself and then tell me the answer. First question is, let's just say, suppose I have a laptop and it has run out of energy, right? It's not working anymore. So, what is it that I do? Do I feed it some food, lunch, or something else? What am I supposed to do? Raise your hand. Yes, Nisha. You're not able to unmute yourself. Give with me. Okay. Can you do it now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, you will not feed it lunch or anything. You
Then
will take it to the laptop, whoever you brought it from.
no, why can't I charge it, Nisha? I'll simply just charge it, right? Laptops do get discharged, right?
Yes, ma'am. But
So
if it's not working, you can go to whoever you bought it from.
yes, if it is not working, just like how we go to a doctor if we are not feeling well to get ourselves checked, right? So what is this feature? Kirtana, what is this feature, beta? What is this feature about laptop? Just like she said that you can't feed it, you have to charge it. What is this feature? This particular feature, whom does it belong to? Who needs to eat food?
Yes, I don't understand the question.
Who needs to eat food? If laptop does not require food, it can run on simply by charging it. Who needs to eat food?
Human beings.
Human beings, and broadly, do animals not eat food?
Ma'am, living things.
Living things, right? So one of the main features why living things are living things, why they are able to live is they need food, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So can anyone tell me the types of roots? How many types of root, Leela? How many types of root we get about it?
Taproot.
And okay, Lipsa, what is the second type root?
Fibrous root.
Very good. Taproot and fibrous root. Who can give me an example of taproot? Yes, Viraj.
Radish, carrot.
Radish, carrot. Acha, I want everyone to pay a very close attention to what I'm going to tell you now. See, beta, when we are in school, giving 2, 3 examples is more than enough, right? Giving carrot and radish is more than enough. But when we are preparing for Olympiad, it becomes kind of compulsory to know many examples. Because when they ask you questions in Olympiad, na, sweetheart, they ask you about different types of plants, which you may get confused about whether or not it's a taproot or a fibrous root. For example, I'll just quickly show you something. Acha, can anyone give me the example of fibrous root? Let me see who hasn't answered yet. Chavi, Shivin, are you guys there? If you are, please switch on your camera. Yes, Shivin, can you give me examples of fibrous root?
The examples of fibrous roots is grass.
Grass. And would you like to add anything to it other than grass?
Onions.
Very good. Onions. Okay. Let me quickly show you this. Can you, everyone can see this slide, right? Pay close attention to what I have written here. The fibrous roots have grass, wheat, rice, maize, coconut, onion. your day-to-day life, we are eating wheat and rice more prominently, right? Most of us eat chapatis or we eat rice. So this is one of our prominent food that we are eating. So we should know what type of root they have. They have fibrous root, coconut, maize. These are all fibrous root. But taproot, for the taproot, we have mango. Mango tree is a very typical example, beta, because generally trees, they start off with taproot and then they convert into fibrous root as they keep growing in age. But mango tree is a very typical example where you'll find the taproot system. Then we have carrot, radish, sunflower, peas, mustard, hibiscus. Why I want you to remember all these examples is because in Olympiad question or any competitive exam, they want you to know as many examples as possible. So we should at least have 4 or 5 examples ready. Okay. So these are taproots and these are fibrous roots. Now I want you to look at this question very carefully. And if you have a notebook, you can use a notebook. Otherwise, write it in the chat box. Read the question on your own. If there is anyone who faces any problem in understanding the question, raise your hand. I'll explain it to you. And keep your camera on all the time so that I can see you are reading it. Write in the chat box directly for the first question. So, ma'am, you know how to handle the chat, right? Everyone knows how to write in the chat box. Read the question, sweetheart. It comes in pairs. These are in pair, following pairs. So you have to choose a pair. That means there are more than one option. So it can be DNE, it can be DNF, it can be DNG. You have to find out the other option as well. Right? So everyone has decided that P does not have fibrous root, but there is one more who does not have fibrous root. So, Nisha, beta, you wrote P and mustard. So which option is that? What P is at E, mustard is at F. So which option will I choose from these A, B, C, D?
F. B.
B?
Yes, ma'am. The B
Yes.
one.
Yes, you will be choosing the option. Because this is the kind of question you'll be getting in Olympiad. This is the format that you get in Olympiad. They confuse you. They make the simple problem easy. Don't get confused. What they have given you is 4 options. And they have asked you which of the following do not have fibrous root. You already know which don't have fibrous root. You know P is a taproot example. Mustard is also a taproot example. Onion and grass have fibrous root. So I can rule out onion and grass. I'm left with these 2 options. Pair means 2. So I have to find the options out of these A, B, C, D where E and F are together. So which one is it? If I look closely, I'll find that B has E and F. So which option should I choose? B, small case B. Everyone clear how to do such kind of questions?
Yes.
So when we have exam, when we have Olympiad exam or any competitive exam, we are not going to write E and F. We are going to choose A, B, C, D. Because there you get to choose between A, B, C, D. There is no option like where you're supposed to write E and F. You can only tick it mark, click it with your laptop mouse. A, B, C, D. So you have to find which option is saying E and F. Clear? Now everyone knows how to answer this. Now this one, answer this one. This is again a pattern being followed in Olympiad. Yes, Shivin. Better understand this question. I'll explain this again to you all. When they are saying relationship, so there is a 4 dot in the middle. Everyone can see this? These 4 dots in the middle. So they are saying that taproot is related to X, just like how fibrous root is related to onion. Fibrous root ka example is onion. Onion have fibrous root. So which of the following plants have taproot in it? You have to choose that plant. Relationship मतलब जैसे four square लिखा हुआ है, that means one example has been given to you. What the relationship between fibrous root and onion? What is the relationship? Onion is an example of fibrous root. So you have to find out what is X. X is a plant which has taproot in it. So out of these four, you have to find out which one has taproot.
Ma'am, it is corn. It is fibrous root.
Yes, corn is a fibrous root, wheat is a fibrous root, grass is also a fibrous root. Only
Hibiscus.
hibiscus is the taproot. So I want everyone to remember this.
Ma'am, I have remembered.
Okay, everyone. Abhi मैं आपको when I'll talk about seeds, I'll tell you about parts of seeds, where I'll be telling you about something very interesting. There again, I'll tell you that these particular types of seeds have these roots. You have to remember these examples, beta. Please remember these examples, okay? Write it down in your notebook if you want. And if you want, you can take a screenshot as well. That will be easier if you're logged in from a phone or a laptop or iPad, not laptop.
Ma'am, wait, I am taking my mobile.
I'll get back to it. It's okay. Don't leave your seats. Don't leave your seats. I'll give you time at the end of the class to take screenshot. Take screenshot of the examples. You need to know the examples of fibrous root and taproot. If not, write it down in your notebook. Okay? I'm moving forward now. Okay. All right. So today we'll start with stems. Now everyone will be on mute and I will quickly finish up the easy part. Then we'll come to little difficult part, which is different from the rest of our grade 3. Let me just quickly revise it to you. Again, we are revising what we did in grade 2. We'll be covering whatever is there in grade 3 and we'll be covering more than half of grade 4. So after attending these classes, you should know as much as a grade 5 student knows. So if you think that this is hard, it's all right. Again and again, we'll do it so that you understand. Okay? Right. So just now, we last class we talked about how plants can run on their own. They can't walk on their own because they're attached to the soil because of roots. Similarly, you have seen plants standing in the position like this, like one sitting upright, ekdam seedha. They stand in the position, right? They don't droop down like this unless they have weak stems. So they stand in their position because of this stem. Stems keep the plant upright. Upright matlab seedha rakhta hai. It keeps them upright. And it is also acting as a skeleton. You see, everyone knows that we have skeleton in our body. Is there anyone here who does not know what is skeleton?
No.
And if you don't know what is a skeleton.
And it is our bones.
Yes. Betu, don't unmute yourself in between the class. If you need to ask anything, Baba, then you raise your hand. Okay, Nina? So, you need to know that it acts as a skeleton of a plant. It is the part of the plant. Shivan, yes. Would you like to ask me anything?
The skeleton is the framework of our bones.
Yes, it's the framework of the bone. It's like the huge structure on which our other organs, our muscles, everything is attached, right? Similarly, stems is skeleton of the plant, where all the other parts of the plant, which are your leaves, flowers, fruits, they grow on, right? Now, you remember in the last class, we talked about how roots absorb water. Everyone remembers it? Now, whatever happened to that water? That water which was taken by a root from here, look carefully, this blue one. This is your water going up. Now, it has reached the root here. From here, the stems come and they take the water from the roots to the leaves. Because we know leaves are the food maker of the plant. They prepare food for the plant. To prepare food for the plants, they need water, carbon dioxide, sunlight. So they get water from the soil through roots. So it's like a truck. Everyone knows how trucks bring in stuff from one city to another, right? Similarly, our stems are also acting as a truck. They are taking in the water from the roots, which they have absorbed from the soil, and bring it to the leaves. And in return, they can't go back empty-handed, right? Can they? No. When we go to school, we finish our homework. Our ma'am checks our previous homework and give us fresh homework, right? This is what happens in the school, bartering. So stems are also bartering. They take in we water from the roots and bring it to the leaves, and in return, whatever food your leaves have prepared, they've taken that food from the leaves and bring it back to the roots, because roots also need food to survive. So they are bringing in water from the roots to the stems, and in return, they are bringing back the food prepared by the leaves to the roots. This is their main function. They keep the water plant upright, and they bring in the water and give back the food. Clear? Any doubt, anyone? Chavi, please switch on your camera, sweetheart. Rest everyone, because you're showing me a thumbs up, so I'm under the impression that it's clear to you. Now leaves, just like how I said, they are the kitchen of the plant. So if someone asks you, where does your mom cook food in your home? In the kitchen, right? Right. So is there anyone here, I hope not, who prepares food in the living room or in the bedroom? No, right? We have a particular room to do everything. We use our bedroom to sleep. We use our living room to receive guests. And we use our kitchen to prepare food. Similarly, plants also have all the parts of the plant which have a designated. Designated means allotted. किसी को कोई हम role allot कर देते हैं, उसको एक responsibility दे देते हैं. Similarly, all the parts of the plant have a role allotted to them, designated to them. So to leaves, the role is to prepare, right? And how do they do it? Yes, Leela.
And just like our daddy's officer gave instruction.
But these days, Leela, everyone has, see, ma'am, look at ma'am. I work so many jobs. I'm a doctor. I teach also. I'm a mom also. So these days, even mamas have a job to go to office, right? But we have an allotted job, right? So you must be, I don't know if you have a sibling or not. So your mom may ask you, Leela, you're responsible for bringing in water to the dining table. Your sister, your brother might have to bring in something. So you're allotted a role. You are supposed to do this, right? Suppose I say, Leela, in tomorrow's class, you have to remind ma'am to take a test. So I'm allotting you a role, right? Similarly, all the parts of the plant have been allotted a role which they have to fulfill. For leaves, it is to prepare food. And how do they do it? They take in sunlight from sun. They take in oxygen, carbon dioxide from the surrounding atmosphere or air. They take in water from the soil, and they use it to prepare food. Now, I want everyone to remember a fact. There is one particular ingredient which is missing in order to prepare food by the leaves. You see, kids, have you seen leaves? What colors are green? What colors are leaves? I've already said the answer. They are green.
Ingredient.
Yes. So they have green in color. Why are they green in color? Why are leaves green in color? Can anyone tell me? Yes, Shivan. Speak up. Shivan, speak up.
The green color comes by a green pigment that is called the chlorophyll of the leaves.
Yes, they are called chlorophyll of the leaves. See, beta, there is a pigment. See, I am wearing a shirt which has white color. My headphone has red and black color on it. Right? Everything has a color because of pigment, coloring pigment. So this pigment is nothing but it's like, छोटे-छोटे जैसे packets of it. So these kind of small things are present in their leaves, which are basically green in color. Those pigments are called chlorophyll. Right? They impart, matlab dete hain. They give color to the leaves. Which color they are giving? Green, because they themselves are green in color. Right? So what they chlorophyll do? They are very important. See, when your mom cooks food in the kitchen, she turns on the gas and then she puts a saucepan or a pressure cooker, whatever she's cooking in, right, to prepare the food. So she is using a gas. She's switching on the gas to prepare food. Clear? So similarly, when plants are preparing food, they also need some kind of energy to prepare food. So, but can anyone tell me what is that energy they are using? Yes, Leela?
Man, they use sunlight to cook food.
Yes, they use sunlight. Sunlight is like gas to them. Just like how we use gas in our kitchen, they use sunlight to prepare food. Now, you have seen a burner in your home, gas stove that we call, right? Everyone has seen it. Is there anyone who has not seen a gas stove in the kitchen? No one is like that, right? So what is a gas stove doing? It is basically using the gas which is coming from your cylinder to let it burn. Similarly, your leaves have chlorophyll, which basically act as a burner. They have the power, the ability to trap the sunlight. जो भी sunlight leaves पर आता है, they trap it, they capture it, they catch it and hold it inside, ऐसे. So that your leaves can use that sunlight energy to prepare them. This is the fourth ingredient in the list of things that leaf plants require to prepare their own food. Everyone repeat it with me. What are the four things that plants need to prepare their food? One by one, everyone, I'll call out your name and you'll be taking the name. Let's start with the Viraj. Viraj, tell me the name of the four ingredients.
Sunlight, air, carbon dioxide.
Carbon dioxide is coming from the air only, no?
And water.
No. So you said sunlight, carbon dioxide, water. Fourth one is, which was present in the leaves?
Chlorophyll.
Yes, it's the chlorophyll. So plants cannot prepare their food if they don't have chlorophyll in them. Keep this in mind. So you might find some plants like cacti, which don't have any leaves. Do they have leaves? They have leaves sometimes, but it is in the form of spikes. So they can't prepare their food in the leaves. So what they do is they prepare their food in the stems. Their stems are green in color, right? Have you seen a cacti? So you will find that their stems are really green in color. And that green color is because of the chlorophyll. Right? So instead of preparing their food in the leaves, which they generally don't have, they prepare it in the stem. Now, there are certain plants, if you notice, like fungi, for example. Has anyone seen a mushroom? You seen a mushroom? How many of you have seen a mushroom? Most of you.
I have seen it in my previous school.
Yes. So if I get to see chance, I'll bring it in my next class. Mushrooms, beta, don't have green stems. They don't have green leaves. They are incapable of preparing their food. They cannot prepare their own food. And that is the reason scientists don't call mushroom a plant. It is called saprophyte. There is no need to remember this name. What they do is, because they are also living things, they also need energy. All living things need energy. Since they cannot prepare their own food, they have to get it from somewhere else. So where will they get it from? They get it from other dead and decaying animals and plants. Whichever plant is, dead around it or is decaying. You know what is decaying? खराब हो जाना, एकदम ruin हो जाना. तो blackish नहीं हो जाता है एकदम वैसा हो जाना. So they take in their nutrition, energy from those dead and decaying animals and plants. So they cannot prepare their own food because they don't have chlorophyll. Clear? Anyone who has a doubt, Lina, why are you finding mushroom disgusting? Yeah, but it's okay. At least they're not killing anything. Are they killing any other animals? No, they are only using energy from already dead and decaying animals and plants. So if you are a mushroom eater, that does not make you a carnivore or an omnivore.
Mama, there are no dead animals and plants anywhere, so mushroom can't live.
No, they'll not survive. Then they'll fall off. They'll not survive. They need energy also, right? Every living thing needs energy. So if they don't get it from any dead and decaying animals or plants, they'll not survive. Clear? Acha, how many of you have seen a leaf up close, very closely? You have noticed how it looks like. I have also seen it. I hope everyone has seen it. So generally what happens is your leaf has, yes?
Seen what? I couldn't.
Leaf. Shivan, leaf. And you need to raise your hand, Peter. Leaf. Okay? And keep your camera on, Shivan and Chavi. You guys are not visible to me. I need to see your face to understand if you are able to understand what I'm saying. So this is your leaf look like. What your leaf look like. So basically, when I'm talking about leaf, The first thing that you notice is your flat surface, a very flat surface, right? Hannah, Kirtana, when you see a leaf, the thing that you notice is the flat surface of the leaf, right? So this flat surface of the leaf is called lamina or leaf blade. These are new names for you. Since you're growing up, you should know, small names of the parts of the plant. For now, till now, you have only learned about leaves, flowers, fruits, seeds. You know, every part of the plant has different small parts which have names, right? So we have names of the parts of the flower, names for the parts of the seeds, name of the parts of the leaves. So I am not going to go in detail, which is for very senior classes. We'll just learn basics, which are three main parts of the leaf. First is your leaf blade, जो आपका flat surface. The flat surface on which you see small lines. So for example, look at my hand. I say hand, when you look at your hand, first thing you see is your flat surface of the hand, right? This surface. The leaf also have a flat surface on which every other pattern is visible. That is your leaf blade or lamina. Most of the leaves have a central middle mein. There is a middle central line like this, right? This is called midrib. So remember I told you how stems like a truck take in water from the root and bring it to the leaf, remember? Now that water from the stem is taken in by this midrib, and this midrib, by the help of these small lines, send it to all the parts of the leaf, because water is required by the leaves to prepare food. So it is like a pipe. Just like we have a pipe in our home to supply water to our faucet, to our tap, similarly, these are the pipes which bring in the water from the stem to the leaf. This one in the center is called midrib. From this, there are multiple smaller ones. These are called smaller veins or veins. You remember? Do you know that in our body also we have artery and veins? Everyone knows this? Is there anyone who doesn't know this? Kitna, you know this? We have blood in our body, beta. Right? So that blood needs to be moved in our body from one organ to another organ. Yes? Kitna, unmute yourself. Let's talk. Yes, beta, you know that we have blood in our body?
Yes, miss.
And you know that this blood needs to be, transferred from one part of the organ to another.
Ma'am,
No, let her talk. Yes, Kitna?
Yes, miss, I know.
Yes. So who does that? There are pipe-like structure in our body, really small structures in our body, multiple. These are arteries and veins. Similarly, beta, we have small veins. Can you see these small pipes like things?
Yes, miss.
These are veins. They come from this midrib and they take in water from midrib and take it to other parts of the leaf. Because water has to be supplied to all the parts of the leaf so that they can prepare this. Clear?
Yes, miss.
Anyone who did not understand what is midrib, what is veins, what is leaf blade? Raise your hand.
ma'am,
Yes, Leela.
ma'am, midrib is like our sweater's chain.
Which chain?
Ma'am, midrib is like our sweater's chain.
Beta, I did not understand the word. With like what?
Ma'am, midrib is like our zip.
Zip. Okay, yes, like a zip. It runs in the middle and in the center, very center. It's like a center pipeline, Leela. For example, if you take a straw, right? And if you're using a straw to drink your cold drink or your juice from, it's like a straw. It takes in water from the stems and brings it to the leaf. Right? And from this main central midrib, smaller veins come in. And the part from where the leaves are...
And who pulled the water up?
Yes, there is a tissue. Tissue is like, जैसे आपका body, you know that our body is made up of cells, right? So multiple cells, many cells together combine to form tissue. And we have a special kind of tissue in our plants, which like a straw stuck in water from roots to stems, from stems to leaves. So we have special type of tissues to do that suction. like this. Just suck it in. Okay, clear?
Okay, ma'am.
And the part of the leaf which is attached to the stem is called stalk. When we pluck a leaf from the plant or from a tree, this is the part we pluck it from. This is called a stalk. Clear? Now, last class I told you about stomata, which is the nose of the plant. Everyone remember? This is opens and closes, just like this. It opens and closes every few fraction of second, very quickly. And when it opens, closes, it releases gases. It takes in carbon dioxide and releases oxygen, right? And chlorophyll is present in the leaves only. It's the one which gives green color to the leaves. It traps the sunlight, catches it so that our plants can prepare this. Clear? Anyone has any doubt? Now, if you ever go to park, you will find multiple types of plants and trees. Every plant and tree may not have similar kinds of leaves. There are plants and trees where you will find hand-shaped leaves, like a maple. Maple tree leaves look like your hand. This one. Then we have heart-shaped. Peepal tree has a heart-shaped leaf. Then we have banyan tree, which has oval shape. Yes, Nisha?
Ma'am, in my park, there are many trees of the heart-shaped leaves.
Yes, but I've just given you one example, Sushma. There is a possibility you might find other trees which have heart-shaped leaves. I've just given you one example, which is peepal, and it is very common in your surrounding. You may look around, if you look around closely, you'll find them.
Yes,
Maybe you can ask your mom to show which one is a peepal tree, and then you can look at its leaves carefully. Right?
Yes.
Then we have a banyan tree. This is how the leaves look like, oval. Lotus. Everyone knows lotus an aquatic plant, aquatic flower, right? Lotus leaf look like this, like a whole plate, round and round. And this one is pine tree leaves. It's like a needle. Can anyone tell me where can we find pine tree? Where do they grow?
In deserts.
No. In fact, it's the other way around. They grow on the mountain. You see what happens on the mountain? It snows, right? Snowfall hota hai. So once it snows, the snow has to be the ice. The snow has to be slid off the leaves. Otherwise, these will not get any sunlight or they'll not to exchange gases through stomata. So they have to be cleared of the snow, right or wrong? Right. So how will they sled off the snow from themselves? They don't have hands to shake it off like this. So nature has given them this needle-like shaped leaf. So this needle shape is like this. Even if something drops on top of it, it automatically slides off. This is nature's gift to the mountainous plant, or we can also call it adaptation in plant, which is a chapter in grade 4.
One needle plant.
Needle-shaped leaf. Right? These leaves, not the plant, the leaves are in needle shape. So it's like a huge tree, but the leaves are in the shape of needle.
Christmas tree.
Yes, exactly. Christmas tree, like this. They are called coniferous trees. Cone की shape में होता है. Since they are in the shape of cone, so they are called coniferous. So this is how they do photosynthesis. Plants. I've told you they need sunlight, they need water, they take carbon dioxide, and chlorophyll traps the sunlight, and then they prepare their food. They prepare their food in the form of glucose. You know that we also eat food and we also convert it into glucose. Yes, everyone? So leaves also prepare their food in the form of glucose. And once they are preparing their food, they release oxygen. Yes, Viraj?
Ma'am, H2, carbon dioxide, CO2 and O2 are the formulas of water, carbon dioxide and oxygen.
Yes. If any of you got confused, Viraj has very kindly put it in for me. H2O means water. It's a chemical formula for water. H2O. CO2 is carbon dioxide. Oxygen, O2. So in case you did not know this, Viraj has very kindly given the answer for that. Yes, Nisha?
Ma'am, I forgot to lower my head.
It's okay. Okay, keep your hands down, everyone, because I've already given giving you the chance. So there's a very interesting test to see whether your leaf have prepared their food or not. Just like when you go to school, ma'am takes a test to see whether or not to prepare your for your lessons or not, right? Similarly, we can also conduct a test to check if the leaves are preparing their food or not, like a teacher. So what we'll do is we pluck the leaf from a plant, or we can take a plant only, put it in sunlight, give it enough water, let it have enough fresh air. Then we take the leaf, one of the leaves, green leaf, and we add iodine to it. Iodine is typically reddish brown in color. So, if your leaves have prepared food, if they have starch, glucose, which is what they prepare in the form of food, if they have it, your leaf will convert into bluish black color, like this. Otherwise, it will look like this only. How it looks. Why? Because iodine, when mixed up with the starch or glucose, it changes its color from reddish brown to bluish black. You need to remember this. Remember those four ingredients. If any one of those four ingredients is missing, that the test will come negative. Your leaf will not change color. It will remain the color it was. It will not change into bluish black. So which four ingredient has to be present for the test to come positive? I want, who will answer this? Let me see. Raise your hand. Chavi, you have not answered any question today for today's class. Would you like to answer this? Chavi, Lipsa, anyone else? Lipsa, would you like to answer this? What are the four ingredients which are required for photosynthesis?
I cannot understand that.
Photosynthesis leaves do, right? Remember? So I told you four ingredients, four things that plants need to prepare their food. What are the four things?
Water, carbon dioxide, oxygen, and sunlight.
Not oxygen, water, carbon dioxide, sunlight, and chlorophyll. Remember I told you how burner is used to prepare food? Similarly, chlorophyll traps the sunlight. So the fourth one is chlorophyll. If you are using a leaf of a plant which was not in green in color, that means it did not have chlorophyll in it. So your test will come negative. Or if in case you have a plant where you have tied around a polythene around its leaf so that it does not get carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, again the test will come negative, because if they don't get carbon dioxide, they'll not be able to prepare them. Or in case if you have not kept your plant outside in sunlight, you have kept it inside the home, then also your test will come negative, because in the absence of sunlight, they cannot produce it. Clear? Anyone, if you have any doubt, ask me now. Because then we'll start with flowers. Done? Let's go for a break, everyone. We'll come back at 5:45 and then we'll start the class. Yes, Leela, you have a question.
Some plants are those, so they some plants are eat flesh.
Yes, I'll show you that. It's not flesh, they eat insects. I'm going to show you a picture. Okay?
Yes.
Go for a break, come back in 5-6 minutes.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, everyone. So far, what we have discussed is clear to everyone, right? If you're back, please switch on your camera. Acha, how many of you, if you have stepped out or have seen through your balcony, have seen these days many trees are shedding off their leaves. If you ever go out in the park or in the garden for a walk or to play with your friends, you would notice that many trees are shedding off their leaves. Shedding off means the leaves are falling off from the plant, from the tree. I hope you guys have noticed this. That's because these is a specialities of trees called deciduous trees, which lose their leaves as the seasons change. Generally, it is in autumn or summers, like now, because they cannot tolerate harsh weather. When the temperature gets really hot, they cannot sustain it, they cannot maintain it. So they shed off the leaves because they cannot maintain taking care of so many leaves. So they shed it off and the new leaves come. Examples of such trees are oak, maple, the polar, hickory. These are all deciduous trees which let their leaves shed off as the season change. But there are certain trees, if you step out, you'll notice which are always full of leaves. They never shed off their leaves. It appears they never shed off their leaves. But it's not that they never lose their trees. They just don't lose it at once. Whereas deciduous trees, they lose their leaves at once. Ek saath sari leaves, they shed off. But evergreen trees don't do that. What they do is very slowly they'll shed off some of their leaves, and very depending on type of tree, new leaves come in. So it appears they have not shed off leaves, but they do, but at a very slow pace and very small amount of leaves at a time. Not many leaves at a time. Whereas deciduous trees let all the leaves fall off at the same time. It appears it has become bald, completely bald. Like if you shave off all your hair, you become bald, right? So that's what these trees do, deciduous trees. They let all the leaves shed off immediately at once. So they become bald. So they do it when the weather changes. What are the types? Oak, maple. If you can see in the picture, you'll see this is how they look like. All the trees leaves being shed off at the same time. So it has become a bald tree. Whereas your evergreen tree, they don't do that. They don't shed off their leaves at once. And even when they shed it off, it is at a very slow pace and not very easily and not at once together. Clear? Any doubt? Okay. Let's say it's clear. This is for doubt or this is that you don't have doubt?
This is for doubt, ma'am.
Yes, ask if you have any doubt. Okay.
Ma'am,
Yes.
I can't understand because the voice was breaking.
Okay, I'll repeat it again. The deciduous trees do not lose all their leaves at once. Ek saath they lose all their leaves. So they become bald as the weather changes, especially during summers and autumn, right? But evergreen trees don't do that. They don't shed off all their leaves at once. They don't do it all together. Even if they then have to shed off leaves, they do it at a very slow speed and not together. Only some of the leaves are shed off, which have become old. They don't lose all the leaves together. So Virat, suppose tomorrow if I shave off all my hair at once, so will you notice? Will you notice this if I become bald, totally bald? If I come to class like that, will you notice that ma'am does not have any hair? Will you notice or not? And suppose if I just trim a little bit of my hair from this side and leave it like this, would you notice? No, you won't notice because the length is almost same. You'll not realize whether or not I've cut a small portion of my hair. Right? This is the difference between evergreen tree and deciduous. Evergreen tree, they don't let all their leaves shed off immediately and at once. Some part of the leaves they may let them shed off but not at once. Very slowly. Deciduous trees let it all off at once and as quickly as the season changes. This is the difference. So some trees appear as if they are never losing their leaves. They are called evergreen trees, whereas some they appear to lose all their leaves every year. Those are deciduous. Okay, clear? Leela, if you have a question, ask me now. Then please put down your hand. Okay, now look at this beautiful slide. Now, if I tell you these are all types of roses, can you believe it? When I was looking for this picture, I was actually surprised to find that roses come in so many colors. These are all roses. You find roses in red, pink, violet, lavender, green, orange, right? These are all roses. So what I wanted to tell you by showing this picture is that flowers are the part of the plants which makes them attractive to us, because flowers are most colorful part, most scented part. They smell nice, they look nice, and this is how they attract bees. They need bees for a very important process. I'll tell you what that process is. But for now, notice the first thing. Whenever you see a plant, what is the first thing that you observe about that plant? If it has a beautiful flower, how does it smell? Does it smell nice? Right? These are the pictures when we look for when we are looking at the flower. Do we or do we not? What is the size? Is it big? Is it small? Right. So these two are the interesting facts. This is world's largest flower, called as Rafflesia arnoldi. It is typically found in Malaysia, Philippines, Thailand. See how huge it is.
What is the left side flower?
This one.
Yes, what is this?
This is world's smallest flower called watermelon. Look at it. These are multiple flowers, and this is just the fingertip. See how many flowers are there on these fingertips. This is world's smallest flower, as well as the same plant has world's smallest fruit also. Watermelon. That's the name. Now, one important, interesting fact that I want to share with everyone is this Rafflesia arnoldi. It smells like a dead body, like a cough. It's so bad, you may like to vomit. This is called corpse flower. Corpse means dead body. So this is two interesting facts about this flower. Rafflesia arnoldi. Right. Now, just like we have learned about parts of the peel, where we learned about we have leaf blade, we have midrib, we have stalk, we have smaller veins. Similarly, we have parts. So when you see the flowers, the first thing that we notice is how colorful it is. So the colorful part of the plant, which is most attractive to us, is called petals. Petals. I want everyone to remember these names going forward, because till grade 10, these are all very important names which will come handy to you. Petals, the most attractive and colorful part of the flower. Sepal, the green part. You've noticed the flower? The flower is attached to the stem through a green flower part, right? That is called sepal. For those of you who have not switched on your camera, can you please switch it on? Yes, Leela.
Ma'am, staple word is like stapling.
No, it's sepal. It's called sepal. Okay, so this is how your flowers are attached to your stem. Then we have these two main parts. You see, just like in humans, we have males and females. We have these males and females, right? I'm a female, Shivan is a male, Leela is a male, Viraj is a male, Nisha is a female, right? Similarly, flowers also have male and female parts. The one you see here is your female part in the middle. This is called pistil. Pistil. And these are male part of the flower. These are called stamens. So everyone has heard of the name pollen. Pollen. Have heard of this? Pollen. Flowers have pollen. Okay, I'll tell you. Flowers have pollen, which are very small particles like things, which many of us are allergic to even. In fact, my son is allergic to pollen, badly allergic to pollen. So if you inhale it, you may get choking feeling, like you're not able to breathe. You feel suffocated. So this is pollen. This part is pollen. So what your bees come, and why do plants smell so nice? Why do they need attract insects and bees to them is because they want bees to come to them. When bees come to these flowers in order to, find the source of food, which is honey, nectar, which is present in the flower. When they come to the flower, when they sit on the flower, this orange part, the pollen, gets attached to the insect like this. The insect comes to the flower to look for that good smell. And once it finds the smell, it comes to it, and these small yellow things that you see, these are pollens, they get attached to the insect, to their limbs. See, these are their legs. The pollens got stuck to the legs of these insects. Now, once this insect goes to other flower to look for the nectar, these pollens get attached to the female part of the flower, which was your pistil. And it's like a tube. It goes from this part on the opening from the top and reaches this inside. Once the pollen reaches the inside of this part, this is called fertilization. And this process is called pollination. Yahan se, once it reaches here, this is your pollination. Once the pollens reach the ovary, it becomes fruit. This is how you form fruit in the plant. Your fruit is nothing but a flower. What you are eating as a fruit was once a flower. All fruits have come from the flowers. But remember, not all flowers become fruit. Sare flowers, they don't get to change into fruits. Only few of them get to change into a fruit. And how do they become fruit? I know this process is complicated. Please don't worry. Just understand this, that this is how it works. Simply. Don't go into too much detail. Don't think too much about it. I know it's kind of complicated. For now, just remember, this yellow thing is called a pollen. Once an insect comes to the flower to look for the honey, these pollens get attached to the insect. And once the same insect sit on another flower, these pollens get transferred. This is called pollination. And this is why flowers are important. Because flowers become fruits later. And flowers are called reproductive part of the plant because they have both male and female part. So the question you may get in, not in Olympiad, but in any other competitive exam is, which is the reproductive organ of the plant? That is flower, because it has both male and female part. The one in the middle is your female part. These are clear? Don't go into too much detail. Don't get confused. I know it's kind of difficult, but simple cheeses will remember, which is pollen, yellow part. Once insect comes, they get attached. The same insects go to other flowers. These pollens get transferred. This is your pollination. Clear? Now, fruits is something we all like. We may not like all the fruits, but all of us have some favorite fruits. It's important for us. It's a good source of vitamins and minerals, which are body protective foods, which we need to protect our body from the diseases, right? Where do they come from? They are formed from the flowers. All fruits have seeds in them. In fact, some students might say that bananas don't have seeds. Bananas generally, it appears they don't have seeds. There are certain seeds, but they don't grow out of their seeds. They grow out from their leaves, small stems. This one is world's largest fruit, called jackfruit. Jackfruit. This is world's largest fruit. Some fruits have single seed in them, like mango. Some fruits have multiple seeds in them, like watermelon and apple. Right? So now I want everyone to tell me their favorite fruit, so that, later on, maybe we can have a fruit party. Yes. Nisha, what's your favorite fruit?
Favorite fruit is mango.
Mango. Okay. Leela, what's your favorite fruit?
And my favorite is mango fruit.
Oh, everyone is a mango lover here. Yes, Shivan?
Watermelon.
Watermelon. My son also likes watermelon. Yes, Lipsa?
Mango and strawberry.
Mango and strawberry. I like strawberry shakes actually. And who else is like Viraj?
Ma'am, watermelon.
Watermelon too.
Strawberry, like for that.
Keetana, what's your favorite food?
Banana, strawberry.
Banana and strawberry. Chavi, favorite fruit?
Banana.
Banana? Only banana?
Yes.
Okay, and no one took my favorite fruit's name. I like grapes. I like grapes a lot. I like green grapes and black grapes.
True, I forgot that also.
Yeah, they are, because you know why I like grapes most? Because I don't need to peel off anything. I just quickly pick it and put it in my mouth.
Oranges and
So yes, the easiest to eat. And apple also, but apple is most healthiest of all the fruits, right? Yes. And I also like guava. My son has very kindly reminded me that you like guava. Yes, I like guava. So we have seeds. Seeds, everyone knows that when you want to grow a new plant, you sow it in the soil and you give it enough water and give it enough sunlight. That's where your seed will grow into a new plant. Clear? This much is clear to everyone? Okay. Now, this is the most basic part of any plant. This is where your new plant is going to grow out from. And where are they present? They are present in your fruit. Your fruits have seeds in them. So, whichever fruit you are eating, many a times you may eat something as a vegetable without realizing it is actually a fruit. Most commonly misunderstood fruit is your okra or ladyfinger, bhindi. It's not a vegetable, it's a fruit because it has seeds in it. Tomato, they have seeds in it. It's not a vegetable, it's a fruit actually. Right? So these are all seeds. Now what is happening when you sow the seed? When you put in your seed into the soil, you give it water, you give it enough sunlight, it germinates. New seedlings, new sprouts start coming out of it. This is how your plants do. There are certain factors means things which affect how your seed will grow, how quickly will it grow, or whether or not it will grow. It's not necessary that if you have sowed the seed, then it will grow into a new plant. It's not necessary. There are four main factors. First of all, the soil should have good, soil should be rich in nutrients. The soil should have good nutrients in them. Second, water. You should give it enough water. Why? Because not too much. If you give too much water, the seed will get grown. If you give it little less water, if not enough water, it will again not grow. You need to give it water because when your seed starts growing, the first step is it absorbs. Absorb means drink it up or take it in. Absorb water. Now this absorbed water causes the seed to swell. What happens will tell you later. So the first step that seeds need to grow is water. So the water is something that actually affects the growth of the seed. Second is, I told you, the soil should have good nutrients in them. Third, oxygen. See, better when you are sowing a seed, it is already gonna grow into a new plant. So it's gonna need energy because it's a living thing. It cannot uh, survive without food. So whatever food it needs, it already carries in it inside. This yellow thing that you see here, this is a seed. This yellow part is just reserve food. Just like how we go when we go to school, our mom packs us lunch box so that if we feel hungry, we can eat that. Similarly, when plants form fruit, some form of energy, like in the form of glucose or protein, they store it inside the seed so that when your seed goes into the soil, it can use that energy to survive. This yellow part is that food source. Or in scientific word, we call it cotyledon. Remember this one, cotyledon. It appears it's a very complicated word, but it's gonna come very handy for you when you go into senior class. So this is nothing but your food source. Later on, when your seed will become a new plant, the first leaf that comes out will be from this part here, cotyledon. This will become your first leaf of the new plant. So this cotyledon, this food, it needs to be absorbed by the plant. How will they absorb it? By the seed. They will use oxygen to burn it. So the oxygen is something that your seeds need in order to survive before germination. So you have water, you have nutrients in the soil, you have oxygen. Fourth is temperature. There should be right temperature. If it is too hot, the seeds will not grow. If it is too low, the seeds will not grow. It needs right temperature. There are certain seeds which grow in high temperature. There are certain seeds which grow in low temperature. But this is important to have right temperature. Clear? Is it clear? Viraj, you have a question?
No, ma'am, but seeds, fruits are not to eat, they are the cover of seeds.
Which fruits?
Fruits are cover of seeds.
Yeah, you can say it's a cover also because they're protecting the seeds in a way, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
And the seed has a little plant called embryo.
Yes, very good. So this is just like he has kindly said, seeds have actually these three parts. Abhi tak we have learned about part of the leaves, part of the flowers, part of... You need not worry. All this material you will get on the site. I told you in the first class, Rajan sir came and showed you how to access it, right? Remember, go to Olympia Success site, log into my account, go to live classes. Yes.
Ma'am, I have seen embryo in my seed.
Okay.
I open it and see the embryo.
Okay. Good. So you will find all these materials on that site so that you can revise it. So after tomorrow, your next class is on Monday, next Monday. So you'll have enough time. You'll have 4 days to revise what we have done in this class. Today's class is very important. What we are learning is very, very important. And I want everyone to revise what we did today because it's lots of information and it gets confusing. So if you have taken screenshots, fine. Otherwise, you will get all the content on the website. Go and revise it there. Everything is available. So there are 3 main parts of the seed. One is embryo. This green thing that you see, that tiny part, this is your embryo. This brown thing that you see, that's the cover of the seed. This is called seed coat. It's like a coat which is protecting your seed. And this yellow part that you see, it's called food supply or reserve food, cotyledon, right? So this is what your seed use in order to become a plant. The energy that they need while being in the soil comes from this yellow part called cotyledon, right? After germination, once it has started growing out, the first seed that comes out of your new plant is this. It comes from this cotyledon. It becomes your first new leaf. Now, some seeds have 2 cotyledons. Some seeds have 1 cotyledon. That means once they grow into a plant, the 1 cotyledon will have only single leaf in it, like this. Look at this picture. The seed was sown. Once it started growing out, the single leaf that come out of it was 1 cotyledon. This is called monocotyledon. And the seeds which, when they start growing and new plants come out, have 2 leaves, are called dicotyledon. So this is your dicot. This is your monocot. If you want, you can take a picture of this. This is a dicotyledon. This is a monocotyledon. Monocotyledons are the seeds which have only single cotyledon, single food grain. Once they grow into a new plant, only single leaf will come out of it. Dicots, 2 leaves will come out. And once a new leaf has formed, the original cotyledon, see this brownish thing here? It will shed off. It will dry and fall off, shed off, go back to the earth. It will not remain on the plant. It will shed off. Remember this point very carefully. Cotyledons, once the new leaves have formed from the new plant, will dry off and shed off. Okay, unka role is finished. They don't have any other role. This is how your plants grow. Look at this video. This is a video of you know what is what do you call this? Time lapse video. Where what we do is we record the video and then we really forward it in quick speed so that we can see what is happening. This is a sunflower seed. And look how it grows. First thing that came out of it was a tiny root. And it grew down and then other parts started coming out of the soil. This is a real plant. This is called time-lapse seed. This is how your plant grows out from a seed. Okay, so the first thing what happened is we gave it water. Water was absorbed by the seed coat. Once enough water was absorbed, the seed coat ruptured, patak, like a balloon, like this. And part of a root starts growing. Once the root starts growing, it quickly goes into the soil because it needs water, as much water as it can. Till that time, cotyledons are giving food to the seed. Once it has reached some part, see, this part will start growing up. Once roots are going down, the shoot part will start going up like this. Once it has reached up, new leaves will come out of it. See, this is cotyledon. New leaves, once they are coming out, ye dekho green part. Out of this green part, new leaves are coming out. Once these leaves have grown completely, this cotyledon will shed off. It will shed off. Right? So we have two types of seeds, monocotyledons, which have single source of food, dicotyledons, which have double source of food. Monocotyledons, once the new plant comes, only single leaf will come out of it, like this. Dicotyledons, once the new plants grow up, two leaves will come out of it. This is the main difference between. If you want, you can see an interesting and relatable fact is monocotyledons always have fibrous root. So whichever examples we learned in fibrous root, garlic, onion, corn, rice, wheat, they are all example of monocotyledons. And the dicotyledons, which always, not always, but most of the time have taproot. So the example of taproot, you remember? Peas, beans, lentils, peanuts, tomatoes, meat, mint. They are all examples of that. So if you want to remember it that way, you can remember. Fibrous root, dicotyledons, taproot, monocotyledons. Clear? This was very difficult, and I know this is for next class. And I know that you may find it all very burdensome. I want everyone, please go back and revise it. It is an important topic, a newer topic, something you have not read earlier. So it will be better if we go back and revise. If there is any part out of this seed topic which you want me to repeat, then ask me now. I'll repeat it. Anyone? Virat, Shivan, Leela, Chavi, Kitna, Litsa, Nisha, you want anyone, anything that or should I revise the whole thing? So I'll revise the whole thing for you. Seeds have sepa. Brown one that you see on your screen is your seed coat, which is a protective layer. Green one is your embryo, which will grow into the new plant. Yellow one is your cotyledon, which is your food supply. Extra food that seed carries in them like a lunch box so that they can use it once they are being sown into the soil. Okay. Once you give water to the seed, once it is sown inside the soil, once you give water to the seed, the water is absorbed by the seed and the seed coat ruptures like a balloon. And root, first thing to grow out of a plant is a root. First part of the plant to come out of a seed is a root. It goes into the soil and attaches itself to the soil. Now, once it is, the roots are already there in the soil, the root keeps going down, get more and more water, and rest of the part, which is your shoot, goes up to the soil, comes out of the soil, like here, as you can see in this video. And once it's out from the cotyledons, new leaves comes out. This part becomes leaf. And once the leaves are there, they can do the photosynthesis. They can prepare their own food. Now, cotyledons are no longer required, as it is they don't have any more energy in them. So they dry off and get shed off. Clear? Everything is clear so far, everyone? I want everyone to please go back and revise this. This is important, very, very important. Again and again, I'm saying, if you don't know how to access it, ask me now. Go to Olympiad Success site, go to my computer, go to live classes. On your left, you'll find so many options. The 8th option is live classes. Go to that option, select the subject, go to the plants topic and read the content. Whatever content we are learning about is available. Clear? Also remember about monocotton dipole. These are the, why I'm telling you this, because these are the kind of question you get in your exam. Yeah, I know it's hard. It's really hard and it's all new. Not learned about all these things. I can understand. That's why I want everyone to go back and revise. Because beta, once we read it, it's not necessary we'll remember things. We may forget it as soon as 10 minutes. So I give you a tip as a doctor and as your teacher and as your mentor. The idea is not to have a sharp brain. Not everyone is blessed with a sharp brain. The idea is to use each and every part of your brain. And how would we do that? Revise, practice, sincerely do revise what we have learned. If we revise and revise and revise, even the hardest of brain can become sharper. Okay? Cool? So,
like pencil sharps.
yes, like pencil sharp, right? So I was very stupid when I was a student. I had to work so much hard to become what I am, right? Everyone has to work hard and we can all do very well. So go back, revise it over the weekend. If you have any trouble, your mom and dad, whoever has enrolled to the Oristed system, will have a number. You can raise your queries in that. Ask them. If you're not able to access content, use that number to ask. Otherwise, we've already told you where to get it. Okay? I'll see you all on Monday and I'm going to ask you questions. Beta, please revise. Okay?
Okay.
Bye.
Yes, ma'am. Bye, ma'am. See you in the next class.
See you. Bye-bye.
Say
Bye, ma'am.
in the next class.